Hello, everyone out there in Rumble X and YouTube land. Welcome back to Diego Knows. I, of course, am Diego. And today we're going to continue to talk about this piece of crap episode in Just Like Crap, Season 3, Episode 11. It's almost over. There's only one more episode after this, okay? Which is going to drop later this week. And then I'm going to review that, and then we're done. We are done. Okay, I have already reviewed every single episode of Sex and the City. It's on here. It's already on this channel. Just look it up. I reviewed every single episode of Sex and the City. I also reviewed both the damn movies. And so far, I have reviewed every single episode of this turd of a show and Just Like Crap, which is now, thankfully, canceled. But it's too late because they've already ruined the characters, okay? This series went nowhere, okay? There was no character progression for anybody. Okay, all they did was ruin pre-existing characters. They turned Steve into a cuck. All right, Aiden was already a cuck, but now they turned him into a cheating jerk as well. Okay, who didn't deserve Carrie, which made no sense. Okay, they've turned. Well, Harry was already a beta male, but now he was a beta male husband, a provider. The unattractive guy who worships his wife, and does whatever she says and pays for everything. And she bosses him around. Well, he's still that, but now he's that way with his kids as well. He has no authority in his own house. So he's a beta male provider, a beta husband. Okay, realistically, a guy like Harry, that's the kind of guy that a woman will marry because for security. Okay, to pay all the bills, make sure the kids are kept in their private school. Everyone's got the latest things, pay for her vacations with her girlfriends, stuff like that. He'll gladly do all that stuff. And then realistically, she would cheat on him with a younger, more attractive guy. God forbid she finds an attractive guy who's also wealthy, then she'll leave him. Okay, this show's not going to go there. Okay, because let's face it, Kristen Davis she don't look the way she did in the 90s anymore. Okay, she just doesn't. Okay, I'm sorry. It's true. It's true. Okay. All right. Miranda was already a piece of crap, but now Steve, her ex-husband, is a cuck now because she cheated on him. Okay, with a dog ugly woman, with a series of dog ugly women so far. Okay, and I mean dog, woof woof. Okay, at least she's keeping it within her own species, so that's good. And of course Samantha's not here. Okay, she's been replaced by this Indian woman named Seema, who is nowhere near the charm, the charisma of Kim Cattrall. Nowhere near. She's just another pathetic excuse to keep for diversity, to keep a diverse character in the show. Okay, we need someone who's not white, a woman who's not white on the show. That's the same reason Lisa's there. She's just a black version of Charlotte, another useless woman. Okay, with a BS job. Okay, who's supported by her husband that she treats like crap, who's also bald and chubby and emasculated and has no self-confidence. Wow. She is just a black reflection of Charlotte and her family. They're pretty much the same character. Even their kids are gay. Okay. Yeah, sorry. I know. The truth hurts. Truth hurts. Okay. But yeah, so this show is going nowhere. Clearly, they're not going to be able to resolve everything in one episode. Okay, so this show was a bust. And they understand that. They're not going to say that out loud. Maybe like in 10 years or 7 years or something, once nobody can get sued anymore, they'll probably say something like, oh, God, I was so against what the showrunners were doing, but nobody would let me speak my voice. I actually wanted my character to go this way. That kind of crap. They're all going to do that to save face. Okay, but right now, I'm sure they've got a lot of non-disclosure agreements that they have to honor, or else they're going to get sued. So because they are going to try to sell this thing to syndication or something like that, try to make some money off of it. Okay, even though we know it's canceled. Okay, so once there's no more profit in the show, then people are going to start coming out of the woodwork talking about how they were fighting against the producers the whole time. They were trying to make it more believable and down to earth, but the evil producers who will remain nameless right now, okay, they wouldn't let me do it. They forced us to put all this LGBTQ stuff in. See what I mean? That's what they're going to do, because that's what everyone's doing right now. Even like Jimmy Kimmel. Even Jimmy Kimmel's starting to act like, oh my God, man, some of these Democrats are just so insane and far left. No wonder people don't like them. Like, dude, you're one of them. Now you're acting like you're not. You see what I mean? That's what always happens, okay? Whenever a ship, who are the first ones to leave a sinking ship? The rats. The rats. Okay? the rats. Right? That's what's going on right now. Woke culture is dying in real time, and we're all watching it happen. And the people that were all about it, that were telling you to be all about it, that were doing the most harm, are the first ones to jump the ship. First ones to slowly start changing the narrative as if they were, against that the whole time. When no, they were actually the ones that were doing it. Okay, it's like the guys that like the soldiers that were forcing the Jews into the gas chambers, at gunpoint, forcing them to go in there. They're the ones that are going like, yeah, I called HR and I told them it was wrong, but they wouldn't listen to me. They told me I had to do it or else I was going to go in there too. Like that, get the hell out of here. No, nobody believes this crap, okay? They're just trying to save their face, okay? And that's what this show is, all right? Real quickly, though, I just want to tell you something. I'm sorry I didn't make an episode yesterday, but I was a little busy. There was a convention in town that I took my son to go see, okay? For those of you who are my age, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There was a convention in town for Dallas, the TV show Dallas. Okay, if y'all remember that show, okay? My mom I didn't really watch Dallas. My mom watched that show, but I was raised by TV. Okay, my mom was always at work, and my dad wasn't around. So my brother and I, we were raised on TV. We grew up watching TV shows like Three's Company, and my favorite show when I was like 3 or 4 years old, okay, was Spider-Man. Okay, there was a Spider-Man TV show in the late 70s starring Nicholas Hammond. Look it up; it's true. Okay, and that was my favorite show in the whole world, even though I didn't really understand what was going on. I just knew it was Spider-Man, okay? And I remember when I was a little boy, I was probably 4 years old or something, maybe 19, so I would have been like 5 or 6 years old. And I remember I watched an episode of Spider-Man, and the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen in my entire life. Remember, I'm like 5 years old. Most beautiful woman I'd ever seen in my entire life, okay? Went across my TV screen. And that's when I first started liking girls. I remember that. Okay, I was 5 years old when I saw this woman just on TV. I just saw, okay, and I always remembered her, and I remembered her voice and everything. And I said, I didn't even hit puberty. I'm 5 years old, but I knew I liked this woman. Okay, I didn't understand how I did, but I just knew that I did. I just knew that this woman was beautiful. Okay, I knew this woman was beyond beautiful. Okay. And I remember just liking her so much. And of course, as I got older, I started figuring things out and stuff like that. But this woman kept showing up on my TV screen because I was raised by TV. Okay? So whether it was Love Boat or whether it was, my mom watched Dynasty. I didn't really watch Dynasty. My mom watched Dallas, and my mom watched Falcon Crest, and she watched Knots Landing and all that crap. I didn't watch that stuff. Okay? I watched stuff like Knight Rider. Okay? Stuff like Manimal. Automan with Desi Arnaz Jr. The good stuff. The good stuff. Okay. And, but every once in a while there'd be like a made for TV movie. I remember once I saw a movie called Concrete Cowboys. That's with Jerry Reed and Tom Selleck. Concrete Cowboys. Look it up. It's real. Before Magnum PI. Okay. And, and so whenever I would watch TV, she would always pop up. Like in at least one episode of every single show I ever watched, she would be in there. Okay. And every time I saw her, my heart melted. My heart just melted for her. Oh, God, the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen. And I remember in the 80s, TV Guide used to be a thing back then. I'm sure some of you old enough remember that, TV Guide. And I remember an issue of TV Guide with her on the cover. And she was wearing a blue dress and her hair was done up, full makeup, and she just looked so freaking gorgeous. She had this amulet on. And oh my gosh, she looks so gorgeous. I remember I held on to that TV Guide way after it expired. Okay, I held on to that TV Guide because of her. Okay, and who's this woman I'm talking about? That woman is Morgan Fairchild. Morgan Fairchild, who was the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen in my entire life. Growing up, even after I hit puberty and everything, I always remembered Morgan Fairchild. And I always paid attention when I saw her. I remember when she was on Friends. She played Chandler's mom on Friends. Okay. And, that kind of thing, all right? And I just remember this woman was the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen in my entire life. She was so unbelievable, okay? And I always kept her in the back of my mind. The first celebrity crush I ever had was Morgan Fairchild. Well, yesterday I got to meet Morgan Fairchild. I got to meet her for the first time. I met Morgan Fairchild. Oh, my God. I took a picture with Morgan Fairchild. Wow. That's like a bucket list right there, okay? The woman I've been in love with for most of my life since I was 5 fucking years old, and I met her yesterday. Okay? And I met her yesterday. And everything I just told you about the Spider-Man TV show, Concrete Cowboys, Flamingo Road. Anyone remember that show? Okay, Love Boat. I mean, you name it, she was on there. Okay, she was on at least one episode of every single TV show that from like 1979 to like 1988. Okay, and I even remember the Gap commercials. Okay, all that stuff I'm telling you about right now, I talked to her about. The first thing I told her was like, oh my God, ever since I saw that episode from Spider-Man 1978, Night of the Clones, that's the episode, Night of the Clones. Okay, starring Nicholas Hammond. Okay, and Lloyd Bachner was in there too. He was in that episode as well. He was the scientist that created a clone of Spider-Man, evil clone of himself, then evil clone of Spider-Man. Okay, yeah, and Morgan Fairchild was in that episode. That was the first time I ever saw her, and I told her that. And she remembered it. She started telling me about Nicholas Hammond, about the Spider-Man show. I was like, oh my God. And she even got to meet my son. How cool was that, huh? Anyway, it was incredible. I just had to put that out there, okay, that I met Morgan Fairchild. And if you're watching this video, you're probably around my age. You know damn well who she is, okay? I didn't just meet her, okay? I also met, like, the surviving members of Three's Company. I met them, too. I took pictures with them, too. I took some videos of I think, what's her name? Linda Gray, the woman who played Sue Ellen on Dallas. Yeah, while she wasn't looking, I took a little video of her. And Patrick Duffy, too. That's right, Patrick Duffy. Yeah, Bobby Ewing from Dallas. Yeah, but for me, where is he here? But for me, he's not Bobby Ewing. Okay, he's the fucking man from Atlantis. I forgot to bring this there to get him this autograph. Damn it! But I just screamed that at him. You're the man from Atlantis. Ah! So one thing you want to know about Patrick Duffy is the fucker looks like he's like 6'3". Okay, I'm 6'2", and I swear to God, he's probably a little bit taller than me. All right, Patrick Duffy. Yeah, who knew? Who knew? Bobby Ewing was that tall. Anyway, so I just got to put that out there, okay? Just, because I'm from that era, okay? I'm Gen X. All right, anyway. Okay, so I got that out of the way. Next thing here, this right here. That right there, okay, that is my X account right there. I post a lot of videos. I share a lot of videos on there as well. Diego knows that knows Diego. And this here, Diego de la Vega knows that is my Rumble, okay? Rumble. Which, by the way, in case you haven't noticed, is not woke. Rumble is not woke. So the stuff that Google will kick me out for is not the stuff that Rumble won't do it. Okay? So just so you know. All right? Okay, let's get with this episode here. All right? And just like crap, Season 3, Episode 11. The name of this episode is called Forget About the Boy. Well, this show is always forgotten about the boy, okay? Men aren't really, they're not treated very well on this show, okay? This show is misandrist, okay, in case you haven't noticed, unless you're gay. If you're gay, then you're treated with respect, but if you're a straight guy, you're treated like absolute crap on the show. You're depicted as insecure, you're depicted as immature, okay? You're depicted as unsure of themselves, okay? Just a beta male, okay? They have no masculinity at all. There's no masculine men. The only masculine man is Steve, and we've only seen him for one episode this season, okay? So that really doesn't count. And what do we learn about Steve? That he's a crappy father. He's a crappy father. For all his all his testosterone, and yelling and all that, okay, and talking to his son the way a father should talk to his son if his son's a fuck up. It's too little, too late. Okay, like he should have been raising his son. Okay, to have to handle responsibility, okay, and accountability, but he didn't. Okay, his mom sure as hell didn't teach him accountability. She has no accountability. None of the women should have any accountability. Everything's always a man's fault, not theirs. Okay, all right, but so moving right along, let's get through this episode here. Okay, so where we left off last time, okay, I already told you that the show does not view marriage as anything that's very good. They don't think I don't think the writers care about marriage in general. But what do you expect? Okay, it's always these far left laws, okay, and shows like this that have destroyed marriage. Okay, it's shows like this that make marriage look like a bad thing. No, you need to be single for the rest of your life. That way you can fuck a lot of people and make a lot of money. Okay, the problem is that by the time you get to a certain age, you're not going to attract the men anymore. Okay, and since you decided that your job was more important than having kids or anything like that, you're not going to have any children, you're not going to have any grandkids. Okay, you're going to end up alone because no guy's going to want to date. Any high value man is going to want to date a younger woman because, I'm sorry, ladies, but you all hit the wall faster than we do. Okay, women are at their sexual prime from like 18 to like 27, 28 years old. That's a good 10 years where men are all over you. You've got the choice, you've got the pick of the litter. But after that, you start declining in looks, which is something that most men are into. We're into a woman's look. We don't fall in love with their personality. We fall in love with what they look like first. Okay? All right? And once you start, getting older, okay, the chances of you having a child are less and less. So you can't even provide a high-value man with a kid because you're too old. The chances, he's going to go with a younger woman because she can provide him with kids. She can provide him with heirs. She can provide him with a family. Okay, because the woman that gets older can't. Okay, which is why they go for the young. So a guy like in his 40s, okay, who's successful, who's got money, he's not going to be with a woman in her 40s who's just been riding the cock carousel this whole time and now wants to settle down because she's an independent boss bitch. Okay, no, he's not. He's going to pass her over for the younger woman that actually wants to start a family. Okay, who hasn't fucking slept with hundreds and hundreds of men, who wants to start a family, who's actually nice to him and doesn't expect the whole world from him. You see what I mean? Who isn't all like, oh, you need to be this and this and this and this and this before I... No, fuck that noise. That's Sex and the City. That's just like crap. They expect all that stuff, okay? But no man, okay? But it's not worth it. Okay? It's not worth it because they're trash. These women are trash. Why would a high-value man want to get with trash? Okay? Why would he want to get with trash? He doesn't. He doesn't. The show's not going to teach you that. But I'm telling you this because I'm telling you the truth. Okay? These women are trash. They're over the hill. Okay, they wasted their best years riding the cock carousel instead of finding a guy and settling down because there is no man out there that is good enough for any of them. Okay, eventually they're going to find something wrong with the guy and they're going to get rid of him for a better guy, and then they're going to find out something wrong with him and get rid of him. What you're never going to see on the show is the high value man getting rid of the women. You're never going to see that because that doesn't happen in real life, does it? And this show's realistic about the struggles that women go through. You see what I mean? It's bullshit. Ladies, it's bullshit. It's always been bullshit. Even Sex and the City was bullshit. And I love that show. I love that show. And even that show, I admit that show was bullshit. It wasn't realistic. Men don't act this way. We look for certain different things. But how are you going to understand what a straight man wants on these shows, on Sex and the City and on Just Like Crap? How are you going to understand what a straight man knows when every episode is written by non-binaries, transgender lesbians, and gay guys? Okay? We're not depicted correctly. And the reason we're not is because they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know what men really want. They want you to believe this fucking lollipop land bullshit. Now, I posted a video from Manhood, okay? It's on my channel. Click on the link and watch that, okay? I'm not trying to sound like a misogynist, nothing like that, okay? But that video from Manhood Daily, okay? It's on this channel here. I shared it, okay? It tells you exactly the truth, okay? Just like I've been saying for years, okay? It tells you exactly the truth. Okay, what men want in a woman, okay, what they're really looking for. There's no reason that any of these women, as dog ugly as Miranda is and Seema is, there is no reason that any one of these women should end up alone by themselves at their age. There is no reason, okay? They chose this. They chose this. You see what I mean? Okay, watch that video, okay? Anyway, moving right along. The next scene here, okay, see, for women, no man is good enough, okay, on this show. For women, no man is good enough. But for men who actually date and like the top 20% of the men that actually actively date, okay, no woman is worth giving up their life for. Definitely not. Okay, the show's not gonna tell you this, okay, but I'm a straight man. I'm telling you the truth. I got nothing to gain by lying to you. The real question you gotta ask yourself is, can you handle it? Can you handle the truth? Because I know damn well you can, but you're gonna get it anyway. Okay, the truth is that these women on this show, they're way too old. These are not high value women. These are low value women. Okay, I know you think they're high value because they got their own money. They don't need no man. Okay, they wear nice clothes. They go to the best stores. They go out to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They go to the best parties, the best vacations. They have drivers, they have expensive houses. They shop at the best stores. Okay, I know that these are all things that they want you to idolize. Okay, but men don't care about any of that shit. We don't care about any of that shit. Okay? We don't care. It's like, for example, let's say like baseball or something, okay? There's a lot of guys who love baseball. Even football, even more so, okay? Basketball, okay? But most women don't give two shits about baseball or football or basketball. They might be attracted to the players. They might want to be part of that lifestyle, okay? There's a lot of women that like that. But do they actually keep track of the scores? Do they actually know who's winning, who's going to make it to the playoffs? Do they know the stats of any of the players? There's a few women that do, but for the most part, most women don't. Okay? Guys are into that stuff. Okay? They want to know who's getting drafted this season, who's getting picked from college this season, who's the new coach going to be. Okay? What player got injured? Okay? That kind of guys pay attention to that shit. Okay? Because we're interested in that. Women, not so much. Yeah, they'll watch the game, whatever. And there's a few I know that are hardcore sports fans, hardcore football fans. Okay? But most women aren't. They're into the players. They're into the after party stuff. They like that. Like when Jessica Simpson was dating Tony Romo, yeah, there's a lot of women who were watching because Jessica Simpson, that was her idol back then. So cool, whatever she's into, they're into, okay? But for the most part, they don't follow that, especially not the losing teams, okay? Especially not the losing teams, okay? The celebrity, okay, the Travis Kelce's of the world, yes, women will follow him, okay? But some bullshit team, you know, like the Eagles or something. But no women are following them. They suck. You see what I mean? Okay, so the point that I'm getting at is that guys pay attention to stuff. Women, for the most part, don't. Okay? And ladies, that's how we feel about your shopping, about your hair, okay, about your bags, okay, about your shoes, about the dress that you're wearing, okay, about what kind of restaurants you can get into. Okay, women care about that shit. Guys don't. We don't. We don't use that as a barometer to judge what kind of a woman you are, or whether or not we're going to be attracted to you. We don't care about that stuff. You care about that stuff. That's why it's in the show. You care about that stuff. We don't. Okay? I couldn't give a shit if you're wearing Payless shoes or Manolo Blahniks. It would not matter to me. And it won't matter to the average guy. It'll matter to a gay guy. It'll matter to other women your own age. But it won't matter to us. It'll have nothing to do with whether or not we find you attractive. You see what I'm saying? You see what I mean? Okay? Just the way women are with football or baseball, okay? They don't know the stats. You see what I mean? Because they're not into that stuff. They might be into the players and the whole ambiance of being a part of the sports lifestyle. But the actual sport itself, they don't really give two shits for the most part. Okay, that's the way we are. We don't really give two shits about the stuff that this show glamorizes. You see what I mean? Okay, their career, women's careers. What the fuck does the guy give a shit about her career for? Okay, only a gold digger guy would give a shit. A sugar baby guy would give a shit about what her career is. All right, you see what I mean? Most guys, we're raised knowing that we're going to be the providers. So what the fuck? What does it matter? You see what I mean? The show's not going to go there. All right, moving right along. Okay, so we got Lisa. Okay, Lisa Todd Wexley. Okay, her daughter and Herb. Okay, they're there at the play, at the High School Musical for Rock's debut. Okay, she's one of the leads for this for modern Millie or some crap, some gay thing, dude. It's all gay here. Little Molly or modern Millie Modern, or whatever the fuck is that? I don't even remember what it's called. Something like that. So Modern Millie. Who gives a crap? I don't even know. Who cares? Okay. She's doing the show. It's a 1920 show. So she's doing like a whole cabaret type thing with her bob haircut and her flapper dress and all that kind of stuff. She looks feminine. Okay. And of course, they're doing a production there. Little Modern Millie. I think that's what it's called. I'm not really sure. I forgot. Who cares? Okay. So that's going on here. Okay. And Herbert's there and he's really embarrassed to be out in public because he lost the election. He was running for comptroller. He lost the election last episode. Okay, so he's embarrassed. Okay, and of course the people that are there embarrass him some more. There's a bunch of moms that go up to him and tell him, "Oh my God, it's okay. They should have recounted that. You know, you lost by such a small percentage." She's like, you know, and don't forget about that money we donated to your campaign. You know, that kind of. So he's just feeling like shit about himself. Okay, and then the principal shows up. Principal Peterson, this beta male principal of the show. You remember him? He's like, "Oh my God, and we will not tolerate any misogyny in this school." Like that, like the fucking fag that he is, okay? And guess what? What does he reveal? He reveals that he's a fag. Yeah, he does. Okay, because once Giuseppe shows up with Anthony, he immediately looks at Giuseppe, okay, like he wants to fucking eat him. Okay, just like, oh my God, I just outed myself. No, you outed yourself the first time we ever fucking saw your ass on this fucking show, okay? No one ever thought you were heterosexual, okay? I sure as fuck never did, okay? I wouldn't be surprised if any of the straight guys on the show outed themselves as homosexual, okay? It would not surprise me and I would not raise one fucking eyebrow. To me, there are no straight men on the show, except for maybe Steve. But even that, if he came out as gay, that would explain a lot as to why Miranda divorced him, okay? But other than that, no. Even Harry, I believe, is a closeted homosexual, okay? This guy Herbert is a closeted homosexual, okay? So no, don't give me that crap, okay? I didn't believe any of the men on this show were straight, okay? None of them fucking act straight, except maybe Steve. Okay, anyway, moving right along. So that's going on here. So of course, Herbert's beating himself up, okay, because he lost the election. All that crap's going on here. We get a quote. It says, one of the characters says, like, if you're going to fail by daring greatly. Okay, she looks at Herbert and says, like, if you're going to fail by daring greatly. Okay, have you not realized this episode is meta? Okay, all the things that they're telling Herbert, okay, is what they're telling you, the viewer. They're telling us this, that the show sucks, and they know it fucking sucks. Okay, but they tried. Okay, they tried to give us an entertaining show. Okay, but it sucked. Okay, it fucking sucked. We tried and we failed. Okay, but at least we tried really hard. That's what they're fucking telling us. That's how they're trying to save face here. That's why they created this episode. okay? It's to tell us, hey, listen, we were trying to entertain you, okay? We swung real hard and we missed the ball. We struck out, but at least we tried, okay? We gave a shit and we tried. No, you fucking didn't. If you given a shit, you would have listened to the fans. You would have understand your audience, okay? We never wanted the woke shit. We never wanted that. We wanted these older women navigating their love lives. Progression. What's Carrie like as a wife? But we didn't get that. We only got that for like half an hour because you killed her husband. The show has just been trying to redo the past. And in trying to do that, you've just ruined the characters. You ruined the characters that we loved. You see what I mean? Nobody's walking out of this thing clean. Nobody's walking out of this thing with a great career. Okay? They ruined it. All right, so that's going on here. You know, like I said, they're talking about the show. Okay? The principal, like I said, is attracted to Giuseppe. He comes out in front of everybody. Like you didn't fool anybody, okay? But just think about that for a second, okay? Okay, it's a gay guy who's responsible for teaching all the kids at this expensive private school. It's a gay guy who's responsible for teaching all the kids at this fucking school, this expensive private school, okay? Lisa has her kids there, and Charlotte has her kids there. Charlotte has a gay, non-binary, transgender daughter, and Lisa has a gay, non-binary, well, no, actually, not he's binary, okay? There's a gay son that goes to school there, okay? What the fuck do you think they're trying to tell you here? Okay, and then they have the balls to apologize for the show not being good enough for you? Okay, when they do shit like this? All right. Okay, Rock does her song and dance up there. It's called Forget About the Boy. It's the name of the song, name of this episode, which basically means like fuck all men. Men, straight white men are all bad. Straight white Christian men are even worse. Get rid of them all. Fuck the boy. We don't need boys. We don't need men in our lives. All we need is ourselves and our money and our shopping and our sex and our cosmos. That's basically what they're saying there, okay? Anyway, that's the thesis of this show and of this show they're putting on as well. Okay, not just the series. All right, so that's going on here. Charlotte asked Carrie to take a picture of her daughter, okay, because she's not allowed to, because Rock said that this is not her identity. She's only wearing makeup and a dress and looking feminine because of the show. It's a costume that she's wearing, but she doesn't identify as a woman. She does not identify as female, okay? So once the show's over, she can go back to dressing like a fucking lesbo, okay? Like a butch dyke. All right. And Charlotte promised that she would always respect the fact that her daughter does not want to be misgendered as female. So she cannot take a picture of her own fucking daughter while her daughter's wearing a makeup and a dress and a wig. So she asked Carrie to do it. Okay. Because she promised she wouldn't do it, but Carrie never promised her. So she asked Carrie to take pictures of her. All right. Can you believe the bullshit parenting this is? Okay. Charlotte's supposed to be the one who runs the family. Okay. And even her, she's held hostage by her fucking kids. All right, moving right along. That's going on here, okay? Charlotte's crying like a fucking bitch. Next scene, Herb. Herb is still depressed and embarrassed about losing the election, so he stays home the next day. Okay, his wife tries to cheer him up. He's like, hey, nobody sees you as a loser. He's like, I'm a loser, okay? Everybody counted on me, and I failed, all right? Because I'm a failure. I can't bear to go into the office and have everybody look at me that way like a little loser that I am. But nobody thinks, you're not helping me right now, okay? Just go to work. Just go. And she's like, well, okay. And walks out of there, okay? Why? Because Herbert's a bitch. Okay, Herbert's a fucking bitch. We've known that ever since we met. Every man on the show is a fucking bitch. Everyone from Aiden to Big to Harry, okay, to Brady, okay, to Henry. That's Herbert's son. Okay, they're all bitches. They're all bitches. Every man on the show is a fucking bitch. Okay, Herbert is just a bitch version, a black version of Harry. That's all. They've got the same letter for the first name. Okay, I mean this is ridiculous. So he's there throwing a temper tantrum. Full of self-pity because he's not a real man. There are no real men. A real man would pick himself up. Okay, I fucked up. I tried. I missed. All right, whatever. I'm going to walk into my office with fucking dignity. Okay? Because at least I fucking tried. I tried to do something important. I tried to do something good. Okay? I failed, but I'm not giving up. Okay? I'm still a good person. I'm going to do the best that I can at everything that I do. Okay? Even if I don't win all the time. That's what you have to be. But he's not going to be like that. He's going to be, you don't understand. Leave me alone. Like that. Like he's on the verge of 86 in himself. Okay? That's what I got out of this scene. All right? Okay? So that's going on here. And then Lisa leaves, okay, dressed like a fucking Christmas tree. Yes, she's dressed like a fucking, like a kaleidoscope Christmas tree with a fucking Santa Claus coat on top of that. All right. Harry gets, okay, the very next scene, Harry's in bed with Charlotte. Okay, yeah, Charlotte thinks that he got a hard on because Harry, of course, to show you how masculine all the men are on this show, Harry has ED. Okay, he's had it all season because it was because of the prostate cancer he had, but now he had the cancer removed, but now he can't get a hard on. Okay, and this bothers him. Okay, well, of course he can't get a hard on. This is what they do to all the men on the show. They emasculate all of them. They take away their masculinity. They take away their testosterone. They always have. Okay, and they took away Harry's ability to have a hard on. Okay. So as Charlotte feels something hard across her back, so she thinks it might be an erection, but it's not. It's actually Harry's laptop. He's been watching porn all day, trying to get a hard on, and it's not working. Okay. So what does Charlotte do? She changes the subject. Okay. Because her hard on is not important, right? Okay. Yes, of course not. Okay. That's going on here. Okay. So she tells Harry that her friends. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Watching porn. So anyway, yeah, she tells Harry, Charlotte tells Harry that her friends, okay, and by that I mean Carrie and Miranda, are more important to her than he is. Okay, so they are going to go to Thanksgiving dinner after all, despite the fact that he asked her this. He threw a whining tantrum about not wanting to go to Miranda's place for Thanksgiving dinner. He wanted to have Thanksgiving dinner at his place with his wife cooking, but she said, no, we're going to Miranda's. I already told them, but he doesn't want to go. So he gave her shit about it. She said, okay, I'm going to try not to. I'm going to try to get us out of it, but she didn't try at all. And what she tells him right now, while he's depressed about not being able to get a boner, is that they're definitely going to go to Miranda's house for Thanksgiving. Okay? Okay, because her friends are more important to her than he is. Than what her friends want is more important than what he wants. Okay, that's what she's saying, but it's always been that way. She's just saying it out loud. Okay, he immediately agrees. Of course he does, because he's a beta male, soy boy, limp dick, literally, closeted homosexual. Of course, he does everything his wife says. Okay, he immediately agrees, but then tells her that the whole time he had prostate cancer, he was afraid that he would die and that he wouldn't be alive to celebrate Thanksgiving this year. So he said, tell himself every day, as long as I make it to Thanksgiving, as long as I make it to Thanksgiving. Okay? And so that's why it's so important for him to have Thanksgiving in his own house. Okay. And that's what's kept him alive during his diagnosis. Okay? He waited to tell her because he's already Mr. Softy. He's like, that's why he waited to tell her. He's already Mr. Softy. Okay? And he didn't want to come off as a wuss. He actually says that. I don't want to come up as a... Well, it's too fucking late, okay? Because Michael Patrick Queen, okay, and Samantha Irby are writing your character, okay? So you're already you're worse than a wuss, okay? You know what wuss is? Part wimp, part pussy, okay? You're worse than all that. You're worse, okay? Because you're trying to convince us that you're straight. That's how bad the character is written. Oh my fucking God. Every man on the show is a wuss. There's no men on the show. How is Harry any different from anyone else? Even Duncan is a fucking pussy. For Christ's sake, he's more romantic than fucking Carrie. Like what the fuck? Okay, moving right along. Okay, ever since he was introduced, he's been a pussy. Okay? It's too fucking late, okay? He's been one ever since he was introduced, okay? Think about all the men that are on this show, okay? Think about all the men, how they treat the men on this show. They hate straight white men, straight white Christian, or just straight white men in general, okay? Because Harry's not Christian, okay? But look how they've treated all the straight men on Sex and the City, okay? The main characters, I mean. Not the one-offs, not the one episode the one and done fuck guys, fuck boys, okay? I'm talking about like the real men on the show, right? Look at that, Big. What did they do to Big? Okay, the main central love interest, okay, on Sex and the City. What did they do? They killed him off in the first episode of this piece of shit show. Okay? They killed him off in the first episode of And Just Like Crap. Okay? That's what they did to Big, the main love interest for Carrie Bradshaw. Okay? The whole reason Sex and the City existed was the will they, won't they relationship between Carrie and Big. Okay? They kill him off in the first episode. Aiden. Look at what they do to Aiden. Okay? Aiden was a cuck. And now he was a cuck, okay? He was a guy that Carrie fucked over twice, Okay? And then they brought him back. The only reason they brought him back was so that they could show you that Aiden is actually a cheater himself, because he cheated on Carrie with his ex-wife. And he's also a jealous asshole. Okay? A jealous asshole who never got over the fact that Carrie cheated on him 25 years ago. He never got over it and won't let her live it down. And because of that, now it's okay for Carrie to dump him without feeling guilty this time. Okay? Because Aiden's an asshole now. He wasn't an asshole before. We felt sorry for him getting fucked over like that. What Carrie did was wrong. But now we're gonna show him as an asshole so that it's okay for Carrie to fuck him over for a third time. You see what I mean? That's how they treated Aiden. Steve, they turned him into a hard of hearing cuck. Okay, the guy can't even hear in one of his ears anymore. Okay? And what do they do to him? Okay? Miranda cheats on him. Cheats on him for a fucking Fred Flintstone clone with a vagina. That's what she does to him. The love of her life. The father of her child. She just fucks him over. But it's okay, because after he yelled at her for one episode, the next episode, he's okay with it. He's fine. They're cool. They're friends now. They're all buddy-buddy now. Everything's fine. This guy spent 20 plus years with her. And he just gets over it like that. After he yelled at her and then apologized for yelling at her, then he fucking gets over it. He's fine. He's cool. They're buddy-buddy now. Hey, bro. Yeah, everything's cool. Even their son isn't upset about how his mother cheated on his dad and broke his heart. None of that stuff. No. At the end of season 1, Steve told Carrie that he's never taken his wedding ring off because, you know, this lesbian thing, this is just a phase that Miranda's going through, and eventually she'll come back to him. So he's going to hold on to his wedding ring. Okay, what came out of that? Nothing. They didn't even try to reconcile. Nothing happened with that. All right, Harry, okay? Charlotte's husband, okay? He was just a beta male before on Sex and the City, but now he's an impotent beta male. It's one thing to be a beta male, but it's another thing to be a beta male who can't get a hard on. Okay? So yes, okay? This is how they treat the straight men on this show. This is how they treat them. Can you imagine any of this shit happening to any of the women on the show? No, of course not, okay? The women on this show, on Just Like Crab, they have no illnesses. Okay? They have never been left by their partners. No guy fucking fucked them over and left them. Okay? Or cheated on them and left them for another woman. None of them, they did not lose their fortunes during COVID. Okay? None of them lost their money. They all stayed rich. Okay? Etc. Okay? Nothing that happened none of the stuff that happened to real women during this time ever happened to any of the women on the show. Okay? None of them had husbands that left them. None of them had to declare bankruptcy and lower their standards of living. Okay? None of them had any sort of adversity. None of them even got sick. Okay? None of them had any sort of adversity. Okay? That real women had to go through since 2021. None of them experienced any of that shit. None of their husbands cheated on them or left them for another woman. None of them lost their money. None of them got sick. None of them got diagnosed with an illness. I'm talking about the women here. Okay? Like, remember when Samantha got breast cancer? Okay, on Sex and the City? Okay? How much drama they managed to pump out of that storyline? None of that stuff happened to these women. These women are in their 60s. You see where I'm going with this? It's only the men that have had to suffer on the show, not the women. Okay? Now, in real life, real women did suffer during this time for lots of different reasons. Okay? Think about all the single moms that lost their jobs. You know, these women didn't have to deal with any of that stuff. Okay? You know, it's through adversity that your inner strength gets revealed. Who you really are is revealed during adversity, during the hard times. None of these women had to face hard times, not even through COVID. Okay, none of the women had to go through any sort of soul searching deep down inside to survive something. Okay? At no time was Carrie ever in danger of losing her money. Okay? Of not being able to make her rent. Neither was Miranda. Neither was Charlotte. Neither was Lisa. Neither was Naya. The only one who had money problems was Shay. And they don't even give a shit about Shay anymore. They act like she never existed. Okay? So that storyline went nowhere. That character went nowhere. You see what I mean? Women have real fucking problems just like men do. But the women on this show didn't have to face any of that stuff. Even Anthony didn't have to face any of that stuff, okay? He set up a gay bakery right around the corner from a private school, okay? And yet he's making a fortune there because he has this boyfriend with his big dick wearing a romper working the cash register. Like somehow that has something to do with selling more bread, okay? The fact that no straight guy would ever go into a gay bakery like that, especially not in a straight neighborhood. That thought never occurred to anybody that wrote the show. You see what I mean? It's bullshit, okay? Anyway, so she reassures him, okay, Charlotte reassures Harry that he's all man and that he can have Thanksgiving the way that he wants to after all, okay? So she caves into him finally, okay? Next scene, Charlotte stares at a picture of Rose when she was pretty. A picture that she had, I guess that's the one Carrie sent her, when she was wearing her outfit and she looked all pretty. And it's very emotional for her. She's sitting in the bathroom just looking at this picture of her beautiful daughter, okay, who never looks like this in real life, just for the show. And she's like crying about it, okay, you know, in her flapper outfit, you know, and she deletes the picture because she doesn't want to offend her fucking daughter. The thought that she could save this picture forever in case her daughter, I don't know, maybe grows out of this phase, like next year or something, or in 6 months. You know, no, that thought never even occurs to Charlotte. She deletes it. Because the decisions that your children make before they're 18 are permanent forever. So you better respect them. You see what I mean? This is a load of shit. Okay? Because kids run the entire family. Charlotte's family are run by her daughters. Okay? Only Harry is the only one in the family who has to ask for permission to do anything. All right? Okay. All right, I'm going to stop right here, but I'll be back to continue my review of this piece of shit show. I thank you very much for watching this long, and I'll see you soon on the next one. Bye.